Hello everyone, Brian Marcello here, Jackson Clarion-Ledger, Mississippi State just pulled off a 91-88 win over Auburn here at Humphrey Coliseum. 12th straight win for the Bulldogs, but yet again, another close game in the final minutes here at Humphrey Coliseum. They've played 4 SEC games here so far this season, each one of them decided by 5 points or less. And this was a game that shouldn't have been as close as it should have been. It seems like we say that all the time, but State was up 13 points at one point in the second half after Arnett Moultrie's alley-oop dunk from D. Boss, actually right over there, with about 13 minutes left, about 11 minutes left actually. And State seemed to be in control, but Auburn kept hitting some shots. They kept driving through the lane and getting some easy layups, getting to the free throw line. And this game is just really just didn't seem to have a rhythm to it, to me at least. And Auburn attempted 36 free throws. Mississippi State attempted 35. 33 of those free throws from Mississippi State came in the second half. State was only 21 of 35, but as Rick Stansbury said after the game, if State can hit, a few more free throws, this game is over. But State couldn't do it. They only hit 7 of 14 free throws there in the final minute and 11 seconds and let Auburn hang around. But really, this is a game that, the score was 3 points, a 3-point difference, but it really wasn't that close. But it was still a scare because you were feeling uneasy if you're a Mississippi State fan in the stands. But Mississippi State had 5 players scoring double digits. Obviously, Arnett Moultrie leads the way again with 21 points. He didn't quite get his double-double, had 7 rebounds. In fact, he only had 1 at halftime. Auburn did a good job of doubling him and figuring things out with him, and Arnett Moultrie expected that going into this game, going against his former coach at UTEP, Tony Barbee, who's now the coach at Auburn. But 5 players, double digits, 21 points from Arnett Moultrie, 17 from Renardo Sidney, and 15 from D. Boston. We wrote about this in the Clarion-Ledger, and you'll read it Sunday, is that State, I want to say, necessarily learned how to win a game without D. Boss, but they were able to do it in the final 3.5 minutes. Sure, they had a lead about 9-10 points, hovering about that way when D fouled out, but what they did was they just kind of kept calm. They didn't, commit a lot of turnovers in those final minutes and just kind of ran some clock. Auburn hit some shots, obviously got to the free throw line itself, but State stayed in it. They could have melted without D-Boss out there, and in fact, they played without D-Boss quite a bit today. In fact, they were trying to, do some rotation there and get Sean Smith some playing time and get some Brian Bryant some playing time point guard, because, as we know, it's now a 7-man rotation with DeVille Smith out for the foreseeable future with headaches and dizziness, as they're saying. And, what they did today was they mixed things up, allowed Sean Smith to play, and Sean Smith came off the bench, played, 7 minutes, which is a SEC best for him for a sophomore. He scored 5 points, hit a 3-pointer, in fact, right after he got into the game, and just played really in control. And Brian Bryant had a career-high 9 assists in lieu of D-Boss struggling. D-Boss, had 7 assists, but he fouled out, obviously, as we keep mentioning. But so they got 18 assists from their guards today. That's pretty good. 21 assists to 10 turnovers. That's good. The thing that kind of stuck out to me, and it shows to me that it wasn't really a rhythm for Mississippi State. Sure, they were hitting shots, but they weren't forcing turnovers. They only forced 3 turnovers in this game, and they allowed Auburn to shoot 53.6% in the first half. As I said, defense has got to be very concerning for the Bulldogs. Rick Stansbury says that's what you get for the quote-unquote plus and minuses of having a week off. Some things improve, other things don't. And defense certainly did not improve. They've got to work on that most definitely. So where's Mississippi State go from here? They're number 22 in the national rankings, the AP poll right now. They'll probably still be about in that area. Depends on how some other teams are doing on the road that are ahead of them in the polls. But they enter this next week. They get a few more days to get ready. They don't necessarily have to go turn right around, play a Tuesday game or a Wednesday game. They get Ole Miss Thursday at 6 o'clock here in the Hump. That's a game you figure Mississippi State will be favored in, but as we saw in Oxford earlier this year already, they were much more active in the front court than Mississippi State, and they got the better of them. That's going to be crucial. And I think the good thing, if you're a Mississippi State fan, you're looking at that, looking ahead, Renardo Sidney had a pretty good game against Auburn. He had 17 points, 6 of 9 at the free throw line, hit all 5 of his shots, including a 3-pointer, and Sidney was much more active there in the second half when they needed him to be. It seemed like players stepped up with D. Bost getting in foul trouble, and Sidney, I think, not necessarily played his best game of the year, but he played sound and didn't really give up a lot, which is good. So look at that. We'll talk plenty more about the Ole Miss game later in the week, but as I said, this game against Auburn was just kind of like State would get up big, and then it kind of got uneasy in the last few minutes, but State managed to pull off the win once again and hold off a rally. So that's going to do it for here. Mississippi State the winner, 91-88 over Auburn. Make sure to pick up a Clarion Ledger and visit clarionledger.com for more coverage.